Hi, hello. Sorry I haven't had a video for quite some time. I've been going through just ridiculous situation after ridiculous situation lately, and I just haven't had time to sit down and really film and play with makeup. That being said, I am here now, and I am here with a bang because I have a very special video for my welcome back. That, of course, is a collab with the incredibly talented and really, really nice Beautubing. If you haven't seen their videos before or their content on Instagram, you are sorely missing out. She has this incredibly cinematic way of doing her content. She has a lovely, calming voice and really nice person too. But even if she wasn't, I just love her content. Anyways, as I said, she is really nice and she agreed to do this collab with me. So we are each going to be sharing 15 autumn themed shadows. So if you are watching my video first, make sure to go and check out her video. And if you haven't checked out her content otherwise, you should then just go down all of her content because she is so talented. I've spent so many nights just rewatching her content because it's so soothing. Anyways, let's get into the shadows. Pretties for your face, Fairy Godmother. Fairy Godmother has a sheer orange base and shifts pink, peach, orange, gold, and yellow. It has a slightly drier formula that smooths out nicely and a medium particle size but delicate sparkle. I think peachy, orange, pink, gold colors tend to be a very spring tone. However, this one has something very grounded to it. I'm not sure if it's the tone of the base, if it's a little bit more neutral, not too yellow, not too red, or if it's got something to do with the fact that it's quite sheer, or maybe even the sparkles. I find that the pink in this is more of a reddened pink as opposed to a peach or more of a magenta pink, and that just gives it something a little bit more warm and autumnal as opposed to something vibrant and spring. Shine by SD, Coated. Coated is an iridescent multichrome that shifts from a warm gold, yellow, chartreuse, lime, and green. It has a drier formula and a medium particle size. It's one of the earlier iridescents from Shine by SD, but a real standout of that collection. I chose to only include one iridescent for this entire collection, but I feel like this does the job of any other iridescence that I would have chosen. It's so shifty and so beautiful, and it's the perfect autumn colors. Leona Opulent. Opulent has a rosy brown base and shifts from copper, gold, chartreuse, lime, green, and teal. This is labeled as a glitter multichrome, and it has a pretty balanced formula with a small to medium particle size. It's one of the most popular shades from Cleona as far as I can tell, and I understand why. It is a perfect, grungy, everyday neutral, perfect for autumn. Cleona Grisaille. Grisaille has a terracotta base and shifts teal, blue, indigo, purple, and violet. This one has the standard Cleona glitter multichrome balanced formula with a medium particle size sparkle. This is a classic blue-brown shadow. I would bet most people who have a decent sized collection either have this shade or a shade like it. And I feel like autumn is the time when I want to wear these kind of blue-brown shadows. And although I do generally prefer a blue-brown that has more of a gray base, I do find this kind of warm terracotta color is really appropriate for this time of year. Shine by SD in collaboration with Seeking Shifts, Verdigris. Verdigris has a gray olive base and shifts pink, peach, orange, gold, lime, and green. This has a drier formula but is absolutely packed with small particle size sparkles. It almost looks holographic with how sparkly it is. I don't know if this will be everybody's idea of an autumnal shade. I do prefer cooler tones, and this is definitely pretty cool toned, although it does have that pretty prominent warm shift. But for me, the shadow kind of reminds me of an autumn day in the city where you have those gray tones from the pavement and the sky, and then those slightly warmer tones from the falling leaves. Plus, there's a little bit of a spring vibe here, so maybe it's a bit of a shout out to our neighbors in the Southern Hemisphere who are having spring right now. Lamb Shop Laser. Lamb Shop Laser has a sheer pinky base and shifts green, teal, blue, purple, magenta. It has a slightly piecey medium particle size that spreads out pretty easily due to the creamy formula. However, it's not so creamy that it's going to crease like some of the newer Glam Shop multi-chromes. I love shadows like this. I tend to find things that are more of a brown base like Cleona Carving are a little bit too warm for me. However, with this more pinky base, I find it works really nice. I will say I originally had Cleona Cephalopod here, but because as of now it's only available in the Deep Sea Treasures palette, I wanted to use a single, and this is a pretty close dupe. Pretties for your face in collaboration with Lee Altringer or Basket Case Beauty, Pumpkin Pixie. Pumpkin Pixie has a grass green base and multicolored sparkles that predominantly shift pink, peach, orange, gold, yellow, and chartreuse. It has a slightly drier formula that is packed with sparkles and a small to medium particle size. This was the first shadow that I grabbed as I started making this collection. It's one of those shadows that can go quite autumnal or quite vibrant and springy depending what you pair it with. I personally love to pair this either with a khaki base or with something a little bit more burgundy to give kind of like a contrasting smoky eye. Cleona Hedge Maze. Hedge Maze has a deep, cool gray base and shifts white gold, lime, green, teal, blue, and navy. It has a balanced formula as one of Cleona's Earth Vibrants and a small particle size. There's a lot of shadows in the Earth Vibrant collection that could have gone here, and it really was quite a toss-up, but in the end, I thought this one just gave a certain kind of grungy autumn vibe that I hadn't really put in here yet. It's kind of funny that they have a shade called Statue Garden in this line because this one really reminds me of statues. Shine by SD in collaboration with Seeking Shifts, Diatreme. Diatreme has a sheer tan base and shifts cool red, coral, orange, gold, yellow, and chartreuse. It has a smooth, slightly dry formula and a small particle size. This shade stood out to me because it reminds me of the colors I see in the autumn where I live in Ontario. The maple trees turn yellow, gold, and then into an orange and eventually a deep red before they fall off the trees, and it's so beautiful. I also really like that even though the red, the orange, the yellow are such vibrant colors, this is really quite an understated shadow. Cleona Iron Gate. Iron Gate has a deep plum brown base and shifts gold, lime, green, teal, and blue. It's another Earth Vibrant with a small particle size and a balanced formula. This is one of my favorite grungy, smoky shadows, and I think it's perfect for fall. If you can imagine wearing this with a deep plum brown lip, for example, Revlon Plum Baby or Plumalicious, those are two of my favorites. It looks really good. I'm ready to go to the goth club with that on. And I'm really excited because the town I moved into has a goth club like 30 minutes away, and I haven't been to one in years. I know you're thinking, aren't you a hippie? And I am, but a lot of my friends are goth, so I kind of like the goth music too. Pretties for your face, Pussycat. Pussycat has a gray base and shifts orange, gold, yellow, and chartreuse. It has a smooth, slightly dry formula and a small particle size. I understand if this isn't exactly everyone's idea of an autumnal shadow, but if the rest of the shadows here are spiced apple ciders and pumpkin spice lattes and black coffees, this one is an Earl Grey tea or a London fog. Not everybody is in the mood for something spicy and warm. Sometimes you just want something herbal and calming, and I think this gives smoky, herbal, and calming. Cleona Bronze Fountain. Bronze Fountain has a brick red base and shifts gold, yellow, lime, green, teal, and blue. It's one of Cliona's Earth Vibrant multichromes, and it has a small particle size and a smooth finish. This is one of the most criminally underrated shadows in my entire collection, and in Cliona's entire collection. The thing that makes it so criminally underrated is there's a very popular shadow that this dupes, and I never hear them talked about in the same breath. So if, like me, you hate Terra Moons because they were jerks to my friend, then you can buy this as opposed to Hot Spice Cider. It's a pretty darn good dupe from what I've seen. Even without that, I do think this is a really beautiful shadow. It's quite warm toned, but the way it goes into the green, the teal, and the blue kind of grounds it so that it doesn't feel like it's such a jarring warm tone shadow. Shine by SD, Everest. Everest has a black base and shifts pink, peach, orange, gold, yellow, lime, green, and teal. It has a slightly dry finish that smooths out and a foiled finish. If you've been associated with any of my channel, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram, you probably recognize this as one of my favorite shadows consistently. But the one time that I do wear it the most is in the autumn. It does have quite a strong black base. I would really like to see a shadow like this with more of a gray base. I'm really hoping that maybe Cliona launches their version of the shadow in their jeweled lights someday. But until then, I will keep using this every autumn where I want to have a bold, dramatic, smoky eye. Shine by SD, Distance. Distance has a black base and shifts gold, chartreuse, lime, green, turquoise, teal, and blue. It's part of Shine by SD's Jeweled Dreams collection, which are some incredibly sparkly black-based multichromes. Some of the shadows in this collection have more of a sheer black base to them, and although I wouldn't call this exactly sheer, it's definitely a lot more sheer than the previous shadow and many of the other black-based shadows in my collection. I decided to put this one here because there seems to be something about the gold, green, blue colors that just seem to be speaking to me this autumn. I don't know if that's just me or if that's everyone else, but it seemed fitting. Divina Lucent Ray. Lucent Ray is an extremely reflective silver with a mauve base. It has a very gritty, rough texture and stains brutally. That being said, I think it is absolutely beautiful, and I'm willing to put up with the irritation that my eyelids get, as well as my brain gets for having to deal with that awful, awful texture. This goes for all of the Moonscapes collection, and I do think any one of them could have been placed here. However, I think this is just the most autumnal shade for my preferences. I do love that kind of smoky mauve color, especially this time of year. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Beautubing for doing this with me. I really need something to just spark my creativity back. And I have a couple exciting things planned, including another collab. So that will be coming in September. I hope you've all had a lovely summer. And I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now. So if you haven't had a lovely summer, I hope at least you are doing okay and that autumn brings good things for you and for the whole world. Again, thank you for watching, and go check out Beautubing's channel and video. I know I will be checking out her video as soon as it's up too. Hope you all have a good day. Bye.